Hello everyone, Tomas here. Today we're going to be looking at the second silliest locomotive that I own. Of course, the distinction of most silliest goes to my Play Art Peanut steam engine, but this locomotive definitely takes the cake for second. This is the Marx Green Giant Valley Railroad battery train set. And as you can see, it is a completely ridiculous looking contraption. Just for scale, like this is a 10 Shoto 060. Look at how much bigger this locomotive is compared to the 10 Shoto engine. I mean, that is, it's why is it so tall? But I love it. It looks amazing. I've always wanted one of these, and recently I had the opportunity to get one for only $15. And not just the locomotive, mind you, the entire set, which features the Valley Express tender, the Valley Express flat car, the Green Giant Valley Railroad gondola, and of course the extremely bizarre Valley Express caboose, which looks like a house. Why? But yeah, this is just a real treat. It looks straight out of the 60s. It's just very silly, and it's right up my alley. So this thing works, but there's just a couple issues I'm noticing with it. The more I run it, for one, and the more it starts to sound unhealthy. I don't want to risk breaking it. But two, the motor in the cab just like moves around like it's a dance party in there, so that's not good. And also these gears are extremely dry, and I don't know, it looks a little dirty. It needs a little love. So we're gonna open it up and just give it some work. Before we do that though, I also want to show off the accessories this set came with. It comes with this plaque, Valley of the Jolly Ho 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 Green Giant. I assume that's supposed to be like a pun, like H-O, 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 but does the Jolly Green Giant really say ho 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 ever? I don't think so. And also, like, what is up with this set? Why is it, Green Giant when the locomotive is like completely disconnected from that concept? I mean, there isn't even like a box car that says, Jolly Green Giant on it with a picture of him smiling. Like, no, it's just imply that this is his railroad. Very strange. It came with this slow sign. Actually, I take that back. I think this is something else because it says Tootsie Toy on it, which I believe is another brand. It came with this extremely small re-railer, which is kind of cool. This, which I can only describe as HO tube track, which is kind of cool. I don't know if you can see that, but it's basically tube track. It also came with these really nifty bits of paperwork. So this is the, I guess, repair guide. It's not very extensive, obviously, but pretty cool. It says printed in Hong Kong, so I assume this set was also made there. And then this is also really cool. This is like the instruction manual, and it's got like drawings and got like the little Marx guy at the bottom. It says printed in the British Crown Colony of Hong Kong. So that tells you how old this is. And also, as I'm sure you saw in that image, the set comes with the Jolly Green Giant's weird house. Like, what is up with this building? This looks like something you'd see in like an Urban Decay area or something. Like, why does it have an air conditioning unit in every single window? Why is it really that hot in there? And then there's like, sunlights. I guess, the Green Giant is green, so maybe he survives from getting sunlight because he has like chlorophyll in his skin, but like, I don't know. It's just a little weird, but it's cool. And this isn't just a building. This is the like controller. So you put batteries inside of here, and then that's how you control the train set. But yeah, Jolly Green Giant's house. Glad he has a place to live. Anyways, so the set. Let's pop this locomotive open because the cars are pretty much fine. They don't need any work. It's really just this thing. So yeah, let's do this. All right, so here's the locomotive on my workbench. We're just gonna test it one more time. So yeah, it works fine. It just needs a service really. And I'm gonna figure out why that motor is moving around so much. It also definitely needs to be cleaned because if you look closely, there's all this like white dust on it, which is, I don't know, strange. There's more of it on the tender too. I don't know. It's just weird all around. Weird locomotive, weird problems. Let's figure it out. So I think you're supposed to open this by removing these, or not removing them, but just by spreading the back of the locomotive. There's like these tabs. Okay, so that just, oh, okay. Yes, that was the answer. Oh wow, okay. That just gave us the entire mechanism. All right, there's a piece of cardboard in there. That's interesting. I guess that's supposed to be a part of the engine. First time I've seen cardboard in an engine, but whatever. Okay. I'll probably wash this off camera. So as you can see, it's a pretty weird mechanism, all things considered. The thing that jumps out at me at first is the worm drive being made of a spring. That's not the first time I've seen that though, because we also saw that when I repaired that Kleinbaum locomotive I looked at a while ago. So that's kind of interesting. The other thing that jumps out at me is the design being very similar to like an O-gauge engine, which makes sense because it's Marx and they mainly did O-gauge as far as their trains went. So they probably just told their, I don't know, design department, engineering department, just shrink down the O-gauge stuff, make it a part of the new HO fad that's going on. So that's kind of cool. And it also has a CAN motor, so that's pretty cool. I think this is from the 60s, so that's pretty good on Marx for innovating so early on. But anyways, let's see how we can get this thing apart. You can already see that the motor is very free to just move around. So I think we can just, yeah, pull that out. We're gonna investigate later on to see if we actually have to open this motor up or not, but it seemed pretty smooth when I ran it, so it's probably okay. Then, yeah. So the chassis is held together by tabs, but, yeah. So the chassis is held together by tabs, which, you know, makes production a lot cheaper, but that makes repairing it a whole lot harder. It's a little difficult to see, but in there's the tabs that have been bent inwards. So I could try to take a screwdriver and go in there and try to, you know, open up those tabs, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it's really worth it, just because like it's already pretty free rolling. I'm thinking what I might do is just detach the motor and then just clean the entire drive unit with soap and water and alcohol, and then just reattach it later on. Just because I'd rather not screw around with, you know, these metal tabs when there's really no point in doing it. Because this seems fine. I don't know. I never go the extra mile when it's mechanically fine. There's no reason to. Like, if this was all jammed up, I would do it, but yeah, there's no point. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. So let's get those wires off. All right, so here's the motor unit. This thing is really just fascinating for the time. Like a can motor in the 1960s is already unusual, but then it has the spring worm drive, and the whole thing also looks like a ray gun from like a 1950s movie, which I think is funny. In terms of functionality, this thing works just fine. Oh, man. Can't have those touching. But yeah, look at that. It's very smooth. I also went and cleaned the worm gear, so there's a bunch of gunk on there before, but yeah, I think there's not really that much to do with this motor, so we can get back to reassembly. All right, so before we put everything back together, I gotta clean these wheels. All right, so now we're going to reattach the wires. All right, so now that the wires are attached, we can put the motor shaft into this bearing right here, and then this motor casing just rests here. And now we're going to oil everything that I didn't already oil. So this bearing right here, and then underneath the wheels. And then these rods. Then we're going to put some white lithium grease on. And then we're going to just like suspend this basically. That should be good. So I just want the grease to work its way into the gears. So I'm just gonna let it run like this for a second. So as you can see, the chassis is working very nicely. I pretty much addressed all my concerns except for the motor being free to move around on the chassis, which I don't think is good. So I'm gonna make little shims out of paper and just try to shove them in these kind of cracks next to the motor, and I'm gonna see if that will hold it in place. All right, so as you can see, I put cardboard on this side as well as on the other side, and that has relatively stabilized the motor from shifting around so much. It still can pull up, but I don't think that'll be a problem when the shell is on. Okay, so now that that is all done, we can put all this junk to the side. And we can finally reassemble the whole thing. So of course, we need to get the all-important cardboard piece. That goes right there. And then the shell, I think we have to line these thingamabobs. Shoot, lost the cardboard. Let's put that on. I think we just go like this. All right, so here's the locomotive assembled. As you can see, it looks much better now that it's been cleaned. Has the lube, and the motor doesn't move around as much. It still moves a bit, but I don't know, I think it's acceptable. And, of course, the engine works. There you go. So, let's get this thing down on the track and test it out. Alright, so here's the Jolly Green Giant's Green Giant Valley Railroad Valley Express locomotive on the layout. And as you can tell, it's working really nicely. Again, it did work before, but I can say with a mark of confidence that this is definitely a whole lot smoother than it was before. So I'd call this a success. Just a note, I did a little bit more research about, I guess, the Jolly Green Giant, and there was like a marketing campaign in the 50s where they had this commercial with the Jolly Green Giant in like the valley, I guess, his valley, I suppose. And, you know, in those commercials, he's like walking around and like helping the, I don't know, corn farmers and stuff. But there's one shot where they have a train going by with like all their products on it. So I assume that was the inspiration for this. I assume, you know, Green Giant got in contact with Marx and said, hey, we want a train set because we have a train in our commercial. And I guess that's where this came from. So that's kind of cool. I didn't know that the Jolly Green Giant had a train in one of his commercials, but now I do. There's also like a song called The Jolly Green Giant. I did not listen to it. Or I'm sorry, The Valley of the Jolly Green Giant. I didn't listen to it, but I assume that has something to do with this too. So, I don't know, the more you know. Anyways, now that this locomotive is working nicely, there's not much else to say. It's a nice little engine. It's very quirky and strange. If you like weird HO stuff or like toy HO stuff, this is right up your alley. It's just a charming little thing and it works great. Anyways, I thank you for watching and I will leave you with some running clips.
In the valley of the Jolly